something really good, a hot topic in the news this week. He's been charged with crime. This is a show where I try to educate real stories. Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. Tonight I have four great citizens in my, I was going to say the courtroom, but in the studio tonight to talk about bail bonds in Harris County. There's a new federal lawsuit that's circling around where 22-year-old Miranda O'Donnell was driving her mom's pickup truck with her 4-year-old in the car, and she gets arrested for driving with an invalid license. And she talks about how she went to see a TV judge, she had no representation, and she's held on a $2,500 bond. And we need to talk about that. I mean, people are angry about the fact that that Rockefeller descendant, I forget, Durst, could be accused of killing someone and chopping their body parts up and putting it in the ocean, and he can make a $2.5 million bond, which I think he paid about $250,000, and then someone who's driving with a suspended license or an invalid license with a $500 or $2,500 bond can't get out. So if you can't get out of jail, and what if you're innocent and you want to fight it? You're going to sit and wait in jail for 2 months. The average person that can't work for 2 months is going to lose their house, their car, their child, their 4-year-old child, everything behind. Does society really want that? I mean, we need to talk about that, and we need to ask our courts and our judges and our leaders to deal with this. 77% of the people that are in the Harris County Jail are waiting for their court date and trial date. When I did so many court appointments back in the day, half of my cases, the people would either get not guilties or a lesser charge and get out. And most people know that Houstonians don't run. They might not live at the house on their driver's license, but they're still in the community. We don't flee normal Houstonians. I'm not talking about people from another country. I'm talking about people born and raised here. We might go from the north side to the south side, and half the people from the southeast side have never even been on the north side. So, I mean, it doesn't even make sense because the purpose of a bond is to get out, to try to prove your innocence, to find your witnesses, and to determine if you're a flight risk and a menace to society while your case is pending. But the presumption should be that you get a pretrial release bond, not that you're in jail. So we have people on different sides of the coin tonight that are going to talk about it. We even have a bondsman. You know she don't want the rules to change because she's getting that money, and we're not mad at her for getting that money. And then we have Sadiyah Evangelista, a great lawyer that's been practicing criminal law and other types of law in Houston for a very long time. Very good lawyer. And we have Pastor Nash. Pastor Nash, who has been a preacher for 45 years and the pastor of his own church for 40 years. And we have a young man who was wrongfully accused of stabbing a young boy, a young Hispanic boy, and held in jail without bond, and he was the wrong person. So let's talk about all these different people that we have in the courtroom. I keep saying courtroom today because I've been in court all day long. I'm exhausted. All the people that we have here to talk about it. So Pastor Nash, let's start with you. Okay. What is your opinion?
First of all, let me thank you for inviting me to come here.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's a very, very important topic because the system has always been set up, it's supposed to be for indigent people, but we know better. I've got what's it called, a Harris County Restitution Program at my activity center. I don't get any funding for that. But some of the stories that are told by these people that when they set bond form, I've actually seen people lose their job for nonviolent, low-profile crimes. It doesn't make sense. They give them these hours to do, and if they don't do all of them, they got to go back and pay restitution. To me, once you do all of your restitution and your community service, what's the money for? It doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. So this system has been set up too long, not for poor people, but wealthy people. You know, being an attorney,
Yes, sir.
how often do you see a lot of white folk go to the court?
I don't see wealthy people in court at all.
And that's the problem. See, you see Hispanic and African Americans on a regular basis. I mean, there's droves of them. Some of them got bonds. They can't pay the bond. They lose their jobs. Doesn't make sense to me. We got to have a better system. Thank God they filed this lawsuit. Maybe we'll get better understanding how to deal with it. But it is something that's been out of whack for African Americans too long. It's time we do something about that.
Thank you, sir. And tell me about Mr. Che Calhoun that you have in the studio with you. Tell me about this young man and why, and thank you for helping this young man as a black woman, a lawyer and community activist, concerned citizen. Thank you for helping him.
Well, let me tell you how that happened. When I found out that the young man was accused and then found out that later he was found innocent, I didn't know him. I just made a phone call to the bonding company. And first of all, I want to know how much bond did he have. They said, well, no, he doesn't have a bond. He's been cleared of the murder charge. I said, what? I reached out to him. I got a phone call. I don't know how it happened, but my daughter and his cousin connected. So I got in touch with him. I bought Channel 11 out to do a story on him, okay? And doing that, he ended up joining my church.
All right.
So
Praise
he's a member
God.
too. And I've been helping him different little things, trying to get gas money, but he really needs a job.
We got to get him a job.
But the thing about it is how they handle this young man. If it hadn't have been for that camera in that store at that particular time, we wouldn't be sitting here this evening talking about him. So I reached out to this young man. And I really believe sometimes there are so many young men, African Americans, that because we look so much alike sometimes, that we're caught in a situation. We talk about you're innocent until proven guilty, but this system, you sit in jail until you're proven guilty. It doesn't make sense, some of the little charges that they put on these people. I've been doing this for a long time. You sit up in jail, lose a job, a lot of time relationships, for what? Who's talking about responding, going to leave and run off for a small bond? Doesn't make sense to me. Now, if you've had more than one bond, I can maybe understand them being a little cautious, but if you have never been in trouble, it's senseless to me to put somebody in jail trespassing or walking a red light or whatever you call it. But it's crazy. We got to change this. Thank God they filed that lawsuit. I'm going to be working with this young man because he came so close of being down on the other farm down there.
Yes, sir.
So now, they didn't give him a bond. That's to me, I didn't understand that. I was going to post a bond without even knowing him, but he didn't
Praise
have a
God.
bond. Now, the young man they got now, they've got a $100,000 bond on him, while this young man couldn't get a bond. It's crazy stuff.
Now talk to me, Che Calhoun. Tell me what happened to you. Tell my viewers what happened to you.
I was received. I called my aunt when somebody told me to Google my name or whatever. So I Google my name and I see my face. I see actually one of my Facebook pictures with my daughter on there with 11-year-old killer under it. That blew my mind. I'm like,
Hold on, let me make sure I understand. So you see your face with your daughter, holding your daughter, and underneath it's captioned, killer of the 11-year-old boy killer.
Yeah, Jose Flores.
Jose Flores. They said you killed Jose Flores, and someone's posted this to Facebook?
They didn't. Somebody must have went and took a picture off my Facebook and started editing and whatnot and shitting it out to every social media that they could.
Wow. And so how'd you feel about that?
I felt humiliated, hurt. I didn't do it. My kids don't see this. I don't even see how you remotely involved me. I was nowhere in the area.
So once you saw this, how did it go from you seeing your Facebook picture on social media to you actually getting arrested?
I called my aunt and called my brother and was like, I ain't do this. I gotta turn myself in. So I'm rushing to go turn myself in. But then they were so scared. They said, hold up. We try to get you a way to turn yourself in. They feared for me with the police. I'm a child killer.
Right.
So everybody got kind of ill feelings, child killer, rapist. So street justice could have happened.
Right.
Or police brutality could have happened before actually turning myself in. So I waited. My brother called some friends and whatever. I had a U.S. Marshal. They assured a nice apprehension or whatever the case. And
So y'all actually reached out to the federal United States Marshals?
Yes.
And so you got turned in through them to make sure that you would be safely turned in to the Harris County Sheriff's Department.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, that was smart.
So I did that, and
When was that? What date was that, if you can remember?
I turned myself in the 18th of May.
Okay.
I got released, I think, the 20th, but
So when you turned yourself in on the 18th of May, tell me how that process went.
the U.S. Marshal did a good job. Once I got the homicide, total different story. Let
me ask you this: before U.S. Marshals turned you in, did you tell them the story, or did they just come to escort you in?
No, we was actually like kind of on a conference call. My brother and the U.S. Marshals, asked me what I'm having on and where I'm gonna be. Put your arms to the side and this, that, and the third to ensure my safety. So as far as like the whole detail about the case, no, I didn't talk to him. I really didn't. I'm new to it too. I need to know what they know. I don't know nothing.
Well, I mean, what you did know is they accused you of killing a kid, and you didn't do that.
Yes, man. So I told him, I'm like, they're gonna release me soon, man. I got the wrong guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is, but please hurry up and take me in there. Like, hurry up and get me in there. So that was it. I went there. They had me in homicide. They told me I was gonna get a phone call. They never let me get a phone call. Then through hours of interrogation or whatnot, he said it seemed like your alibi. Turns out everything's coming back good, but I have to charge you.
And what was your alibi?
I was in Pearland. I say, man, you could check my phone record, you could check the cameras and do all this.
You told him I was in Pearland when?
I was in Pearland the day of when this is supposed to be suspected
that?
to happen. I think it was suspected it happened on a Wednesday or Tuesday, and I was in Pearland.
But you knew you were in Pearland both days?
Yeah, I left Tuesday, and I was in Pearland to the next day. So that's Wednesday I turned myself.
So you were in Pearland staying with somebody?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was it. Once that happened, made sure I turned myself in. I went and did the interrogation, and he was telling me that my alibi is good, but we have to charge you. I'm like, why do you have to charge me? Me not really knowing a lot, but I know sometimes they can hold you for 72 hours or whatnot. I felt, why you ain't hold me for 72 hours before you put that on my name? You know what I'm saying? You could have held me 72 hours and lo and behold, I was the innocent man. So, but you had to put that jacket on me.
Right.
Yeah, so it was hard.
So they had to put that jacket on. Did they segregate you? Did they just leave you in a regular population where?
I was treated like I can't be around nobody. I got 2 guards on me, shackles, handcuffs, solitary confinement. I can't be around nobody. And then when I'm announced, I'm yanked and pulled. I ain't just transported. I'm rough and toughed around. And then I'm not announced as Che Calhoun, come down here. I say, that's the child killer. Yeah, that's the child killer. So I got upset with a couple officers. Like, I'm not proud of this. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even do this, but you trying to incite something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You trying to let the other guards, inmates hear it, and you know how that go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Trying to get them to put their hands on me or whatnot. And luckily, that didn't happen, but they were sure trying to incite a riot, I feel, on me.
Wow. And how did you feel sitting in that cell in isolation for 5 days?
I was upset. I just knew that God finna show me he real, because I know I ain't do this, but I'm scared. I'm in Texas, I don't know. And then I don't know what's going on. I don't know why. I wasn't a person of interest. I was charged with it. And I don't even know how that happened. So
I know you didn't. I mean, who would have ever thought that if you take somebody to jail, I mean, you go and turn yourself in, you're going to become charged with an actual crime. Did you go to court?
Yes. No. They wouldn't even, I think they were so humiliated, they wouldn't even allow me in the courtroom.
You were there for 5 days and then go to court? I mean, no, 2 days, 3 days. You were there for 3 days and then go to court.
When it was time for me to go to court, the officer came to me and was like, man, this your lucky day. He was like, what? He was like, all the charges been dropped. I'm like, told you, man.
So what about the TV judge? Did you go before the TV judge to read the probable cause, like the lady saying in the lawsuit?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Tell me how that went.
When I did the TV judge, everybody else, I'm shackled up. I'm still all the way tied down.
But you're at the Harris County Jail, though, right? Before the TV judge.
So I go.
Describe it for us.
All right, they transported everybody out. Then they pulled me by myself. Everybody got regular oranges. I got on yellow. That's high maximum security. So everybody looking like, with this dude, high profile is what it's for. So I go in there. They called me up, the first one, I guess to hurry and get me back in the cell. I'm a risk, huh? It's crazy. But I go to, she reading off these charges like, Mr. Calhoun was accused. He was on this day, running from here, stabbed the guy 11. I'm just listening like, I don't know, where is this information coming from? I don't know. I just went through, I didn't know where somebody's lying, telling, I'm just
Wow.
I just want to know their sources. Who is their witnesses? They need to be under oath or take a polygraph, because they lied and played with my life. If that camera, like that dude at the store say, he only records for 3 days and then he, throws it out.
They record over it.
Yeah, if I'd have waited one more day or just say I was scared, because I was, to turn myself in and waited another day, I would still be in there, the wrong man, death penalty.
Well, let me ask you this. So you go before the TV judge, and she reads that you're running from the cops. You're running from the scene where the little boy had been stabbed. So I guess, let me backtrack. So when you were talking to the cops on May 18th, when you turned yourself in, you told them you were in Pearland in a store? Mm-hmm. What store was that?
It's on the corner of a trailer park, just a regular convenience store.
And so they actually did good policing, because they went and got the tape, right?
No, actually, the young lady that I was dealing with went and got the tape and brought it to homicide.
Wow, your friend girl did that. Wow, that was a good friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was a good store, because a lot of times those stores won't release it to regular people.
They did.
They released it and showed that you were in the store.
In the store.
And you just happened to go, buy something or get some gas? What were you doing?
Going to get a bag of chips. And I got a bag of chips, or I think I got a beer or whatnot. And we just had a conversation, because one day I went to a store, he was watching cricket. So we built a rapport, we was laughing and joking. So I think that's probably why he did that, you know what I'm saying?
He remembered who you were?
Yeah, we had a good conversation. We was laughing and joking. He was telling me about things from his culture, his country. And when she went in there, she was like, do you remember, I'm a dude that you was talking to, whoop, whoop. And he was like, yeah, he went and looked at it, and he told her to take as many copies, or he'll even stay open later if the police need to come. So yeah, he really went out his way to help me.
Wow. Have you gone to thank him for that?
Man, I see him every day.
Wow, what a beautiful story.
Now, they had insult to injury. After he had been cleared, he held his property down at police headquarters. I called. They wanted to hold it for a few more days. And I'm thinking,
After he's been cleared?
Yeah, what are you holding for? When Chief told him, well, homicide want to go through it and look at it again. It don't make sense.
That's disrespectful.
So in other
Do
words,
they have a warrant for it to go through his property?
no, but they was trying to build another case up on him. They knew they had blundered, okay?
Right.
And so they were trying to make up for that by finding if they had anything else on him, okay? He was blessed all the way around.
Sure was, Hannah.
So finally, you got your backpack. They still had your phone for a while, right?
They still have my shoes, and they still have my phone.
They still have your phone?
I'm asking them, what do you need my phone for?
Well, first of all, the Supreme Court has said that to go through someone's phone, you have to have a search warrant.
Right.
Now, how are they going to have probable cause to have a search warrant when there is no probable cause because they let you go?
Yeah.
And they still have my phone.
So I mean, they don't have probable cause to get a search warrant to go through your phone, so they need to return your phone. They probably have torn your phone up.
That's why I told them, I think you
They stole it.
yeah, going through it and doing all other type of stuff. I don't know what they doing.
What they doing to your phone? I wouldn't even want that phone back.
Trying to
Probably
build
don't
another
even
case.
exist.
I wouldn't even want that phone back. So they still have your phone and your shoes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, thank God you have a godly man, well-respected man like Pastor Nash to come to your aid and fight. I know you felt the presence of God, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ought to change your life.
Yeah, it did.
It did. Now, Sadiyah,
Yes, ma'am.
what do you think about this?
To hear Brother Che's story is just a microcosm of what we are seeing in Harris County. Now, murder, the little young boy, may God be pleased with him. I know I was in court when the real suspect came and had to address the probable cause, and the family was out full-fledged, and you could see the pain. So, and I believe there may be some mental health issues on that other side of the suspect. So, it's a terrible scenario. And then this is even more egregious dealing with Che. And again, it's a microcosm of what we're seeing, because you said the statistics in Harris County is between 70 to 70% of those who are pretrial detainees, meaning they're waiting on to prove their innocence. They're not guilty yet. And so either they've violated condition of a bond, they can't get a bond, and we know that since 2009 to 2015, we've had 55 people die in jail. That's
key.
Yeah, that was killed. Last month, one person got beat up waiting on his trial.
And got killed.
And got killed, yes, by the guards. 120 complaints for the guards, and only 6 got charged. We're talking about all kind of illnesses are in the jail system. The Justice Department, is continually monitoring the Harris County jails because of the treatment of the inmates and the way that they run the jail. Then you have this bonding issue where people can't get even a small bond. They don't even ask them about their financial capabilities. They have a standard list of bond amounts for different type of cases, and it's just cookie cutter. And they know that this is in violation of the Constitution. Now, they say that they want to uphold the Constitution, but when it comes to enforcing it, it's not being upheld. And who are the ones that are being hurt? It's the poor people. And who are the poor people? Let's be real about it. It's the black and it's the brown. It's the poor white, right? And so, this is a money-making mechanism as well. So we're not seeing justice, we're not seeing equality, and we're dealing with a class and a race issue. Right. So it is a travesty of justice.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, come on in here, bonding lady. Ms. Sheba Muharib is going to talk next, and she owns Able Bail Bond. Now, how does it look like from where you sit?
Well, when we go through, we're able to see the public information on the folks that are in jail, and we see a lot of folks having bonds, and we just talk to the families when they call us and try and work out payment plans with them. In regards to this, I'm just recently hearing about it.
You didn't know about the lawsuit?
No, ma'am.
Well, how do you feel about the family members that call you and, it's like a $50,000 bond, and it might just be because they've had a lot of small drug offenses, and the fact that they can't come up with $5,000 or even have a difficult time with a payment plan? I mean, would you in the bonding business rather see a whole bunch of high $50,000 bonds or smaller bonds where people could make them?
You know what? I truly try and stay in my lane and just be a bondsman and work with folks. Because I'm a double minority, I try, and anyone that calls me, I'm able to give them a payment plan. I'm able to work with them.
Okay. I hear you.
Yes,
I hear you should stand neutral on the subject. I understand. But we're glad you're here, and
Thanks
you're
for having me.
double minority, and we're glad to know that a minority female has a bonding company, Able Bail Bond. So I'm glad to know that, and I'm sure people out in the audience are glad to hear that too. Let's talk about this. So don't you think that since we've been having this problem for a very long time, that now somebody's actually sued in federal court? I mean, I'm actually proud of an organization to do that. How do you feel about that, Sadiyah?
Oh, Pastor, you said you've been serving under the leadership in your church for 40 years. And my understanding, this has been going on for 40 years in Harris County.
Oh, yeah.
So we know that the system has not been set up, to give us freedom, justice, and equality. And so now that it's coming to light, it's going to open the doors to many. I know a couple of weeks ago, you stood with Senator Rodney Ellis and a lot of other community activists on this issue. So now Harris County, they find themselves trying to figure out how to answer the problem. Right. They're coming up with this diagnostic tool and how to, figure this algorithm, right? The mathematics of how to figure out who gets a bond, who doesn't get a bond. Got an issue with that. That means, again, the person cannot articulate, their financial capabilities. Right. They can articulate why is it that they deserve a bond. So now, again, they say that the numbers and the mathematics is going to prove that these people can get one and not. I don't know about that. I believe that's some money issues as well. Who gets the contract? Let's ask that question. Then not only are we dealing with bond, but we're also dealing with probation issues, because how many probationers are violated because they can't pay their fines, they can't pay their restitution, they can't pay their court costs. So we're in that same lane that people are penalized because they cannot afford to be on probation, because probation is really about the money. Let's be honest about it.
Right.
And the DAs, they call it the DA's layaway, right? You on it for a short period of time, you can't afford to pay these fees, and so now you have a final conviction on your record and you're considered a criminal.
Right.
So it's not set up, to give freedom, justice, and equality.
I agree. It's not set up that way, and it should be. But I'm glad in our lifetime we're seeing people at least try to sue the government about it,
Yes.
because it's been unfair from the very beginning. I used to be offended when I was a prosecutor, and I would see people bond out, and then because they bonded out, some of the judges would automatically say, well, now you have to get your own lawyer, knowing that they didn't bond themselves out because they were in jail. So somebody in their family had to go to the bonding company and post the bond, do the paperwork, and the judges know that. And I was told by a judge that, not a judge in Houston, Harris County, but a judge on the Court of Criminal Appeals, that was unconstitutional. And there was case law that said it, but no one ever said anything about it. And so it's unfortunate that the law changes when certain political parties are in power, and then a whole group of lawyers grow up in this system and think that this is the way it should be.
Right.
And it's not. They never even question it. I can always tell, as a lawyer that has a lot of clients in jail awaiting trial, when the federal government is looking at the jails. Because all my guys who are taking medicine that are normally at 1200 Baker, which is where the hospital is, I'm looking for them. So on Sundays, twice a month, I got like 5 or 6 guys in 1200 Baker, where the hospital is. Then I have 5 or 6 guys in 701. That's more of the guys charged with aggravated robbery and capital murder. But if they're sick, they at the other jail. Yeah. I'll go over here looking for them, and they're not there. I'll go over here, and my ones that are heavily medicated, maybe one that's accused of a horrendous crime, that's been mental. I got 3 boxes of mental records in my office. He ain't there. He's over at 701. No, he shouldn't be over at 701. Not only is he a danger to himself, he's a danger to others. I mean, he really is dangerous. He can snap on a dime. He's the calmest client I have. But the crime that he has shows me that he's capable of going into another person. And I have 2 or 3 of them. I'm like, why are y'all over here? They say something's going on at the jail. They're moving us around. It's like music, Russian roulette. I mean, they're just moving them around, hiding them, because if they're looking and auditing over here, they have to run some of them over here, and then when they audit over here, they run them back over there. It's like the craziest thing. We playing these games with the federal government. Our jail is playing these games. One of my other issues that kind of goes with this to me. Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have a phone call? I'm sorry, I wasn't looking. If there's a phone call, please, caller, you're on.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, how are you?
I'm good. I just want to say that I commend you all for helping people who are actually not guilty to be released, because a year ago or so, that happened to me. Someone filed a fake terroristic charge on me, and I ended up resetting over and over month after month for about 6 or 7 months. And, it was crazy that this old friend of mine, who I guess got mad at me, filed this charge on me. And one day I got some calls from bonds people saying I needed to post a bond. And I just didn't understand why. I was like, what do I need a bond for? I teach college every day. I don't do anything to have to post a bond. But it was me, and it had a warrant for my arrest. So I posted the bond, turned myself in. And once they released me, I had to go to court and get my own lawyer and fight and fight. The good thing about this is that God is good.
Amen.
Because the lady that was the DA for this case at the very end ended up seeing me every time I went to court, and we always spoke to each other. Now, I thought she was just a secretary in the court because I did see her in there, but I didn't know she was a DA. So on the last time that my lawyer went to talk to her, he came back and said, let's go. And every time he said, let's go, it was always a reset. So I said, so did we reset it? He said, no, she dismissed it. I said, who is she? He said, the lady right there. But she looked back and waved at me, and I was like, hi. I just thought she was waving at me. But actually, she told him, it can't be her, because I see her every time. She's always speaking, and she's always happy and lively. And we had a conversation. And she said, based on these reports, the accusations on these reports, that doesn't even seem like that's that type of person. She said, I don't even believe it. And she dismissed it just because every time I would see her, it was a hi, a hello, a good morning, or how you doing? And just, I go about my business. And I always sat in that court for 7 months, reset. And that morning, she looked back and waved at me, and I waved back, and my lawyer came and said, let's go. And it was dismissed. That was only through the grace of God, because I never threatened that person. it was stuff like I was hanging out at the apartment, parked in front of the apartment, calling, and I never did any of that. And
Well, I
just
believe
didn't
you.
understand
Now, let me make sure I have it right, ma'am. So you never made the bond, or you did post the bond? Oh, you posted. You did a non-arrest
I had
bond.
to post a bond because the warrant was there, and I couldn't take the risk of getting caught because
Right.
then it would be hard for me to try to fight it, so I
On
was
the
able
inside,
to be
yeah.
out. Right.
Right. Well, thank God for bondsmen, like we have able bail bonds here in the courtroom today.
And I just want to say to the guy, Che Calhoun, I'm so glad that you were found innocent because it's so easy for, like the pastor said, for us to look alike.
Amen.
And they
Amen.
just
Thank you
take
for watching
granted
it. Thanks for
you
watching,
know?
and thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Vivian, I've been blessed in one other way. I've had people coming to me and they got some loved one in jail, okay? I make a phone call, no bond. I would call the court coordinator and I would ask, why can't this individual get a bond? It's, well, we can't share that information, but I was persistent, call back, one of the judges, give a bond. I even went posted the bond.
Wow.
And the money coming I work with said, you want me to pay for it or you going to pay?
So I have to pay for it too? You have to post it and pay for it?
And they'll set up a plan with them. You do that?
You know what? And I'm glad you said that because a lot of people think that bonding companies are just sharks, and they're really not, because you do have bonding companies who know that the system has been set up,
Right.
to extract and take and steal from the poverty and the black and the browns.
Right.
And so knowing that, they'll take, the standard is what, 10% premium?
Yes, ma'am.
And so some of them, a lot of them, they will take less than that just so that their focus is on your liberty. They'll know that they'll get their money in the end.
Right.
So, we're focusing on liberty and then equality as well.
Exactly. Great point, Sadiyah.
You got great people. One button coming. I don't guess I should call the name. I better not do that.
No,
You can if it's good.
Can I
I don't
call
care.
it?
Yeah, if it's good.
Well,
Even if it's bad, I don't care.
Let me call-
This is a freedom
let me
of
call
speech show.
Kubash. These are good friends of mine that when somebody goes to jail, believe me, I can make a phone call, okay? I've had the Kubash to do this. Not only get to pay the bond, they would take it over to 49 Street over there.
49 San Jacinto.
I'll go down the next day with the person. Now, this happened many times. So we do have money coming. Understand the situation that a person should not be locked up because they can't afford a bond.
Right.
Right.
It's crazy stuff to me. But it happens too much to African Americans. And I'm saying that because I go to court a lot and I see that a lot. The question I got for you,
Yes, sir.
is there any way this man can get any kind of restitution for the ordeal he went through?
I'm not sure. I mean, I know that you know who could answer that question for us is Rodney Ellis, because they did set up a payment plan when you're wrongfully accused and found innocent, like Anthony Graves got paid. Michael Morton got paid, but those people were in prison for a long, long time. I must be honest, I've never read that statute to tell you how, but I know there's a reimbursement mechanism.
Right.
But for some reason, I think it's for years. I think it has to be a year or two because you get paid by the year.
Well, I was down in Austin a few years ago. Sylvester and Rodney got together, and I had 5 guys I was standing with in prison for over 20 years each. And each one of them was innocent. They got $80,000 per year that they was in prison.
Right. Yeah, they get a lot of money. I think Rodney Graves got over $1 million because he was in prison about 18 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, they get a lot. They get a decent amount of money. They try to decide, about how much you would have made, and they get that. But everything I've read about it is per year, and because he was in jail for 3 days, I don't know if 3 days are going to count. If they'll fraction that up to 365 days because it's per year that they get the money.
Right.
So I'm not sure, but Rodney Ellis would know that question at the top of
I work together with that and that.
If you remember to ask him, he'll know. He'll know that right offhand. He might have been the one who helped sponsor the bill because I know that they've actually raised the amount or changed the amount or changed that statute a little bit lately. So I don't know, but that's a good question.
Right.
Well, Rodney was instrumental in getting me on the Public Defender's Board.
Okay.
They got about $4 million. I went to Commissioner's Court, and they were saying, well, we don't have the money. We don't have the money. They had one attorney. He had made over $400 and some thousand a year.
Court appointment.
So I told the commissioner, I said, get some of the money he's making.
I know. Get some of his money.
Get some of that money. So they got ways of doing things. But I thank God the Supreme Court recognized that this practice is terrible, it's wrong, and Harris County is the most guilty of all these counties. I don't know what
Well,
we're
it's
dealing
because
with.
we don't have diversity in the decision making. I mean, if you have one race making the decision for the other races,
Right.
then it's not going to be fair.
Right.
I mean, that's just human nature. It's not that we're racist. A lot of the judges don't like me downtown, I hear, because she's always talking about race. But race is a factor in this system, and I'm sorry that I have to tell the truth and shame the devil.
Right.
I'm not saying I love my white brethren, but I'm gonna call you out if you're wrong.
Right.
I mean, that's just the bottom line. I have a lot of great white friends who I dearly love and cherish, but I don't think it's always intentional. It's just systematic. You know, if you come into a system,
Timmy gas.
right? If you come into, even if you're a white judge, you come into a system where all the judges before you did it a certain way. That's what being a judge means to you.
Right.
You know, and that's one of the reasons why I ran for judge twice when I did is because I wanted a seat at the table. Because the judges create the bond schedule. You know, and I would have been fighting for equality and fairness and inclusion. It wasn't for me; it was for us. You see what I'm saying? And so. That didn't happen for me, but I'm going to still do it this way. You're not going to silence me. I'm going to be talking. So we're going to talk about that. And the other issue that I'm concerned about is televising commissioners' court meetings. Our city council meetings are televised. Our HISD school board meetings are televised. Commissioners' court runs the county budget where our property taxes are. I mean, probably billions of dollars. But yet, and those meetings are supposed to be open to the public. You can get on their agenda by going through a protocol, just like city council, but those meetings are closed. And one of the things that affects criminal justice recently that made me think about this was we've gotten a new county court. That's the misdemeanor courts where you're in prison for up to a year, and it's county court 16. I was a lawyer when we got county court 15 in 1995. My very good friend, Judge Gene Hughes, was appointed, okay? And now we have another one appointed in 2016, Linda Garcia, who's I knew when she first became a prosecutor, when she was appointed by Governor Perry to be on the parole board. She came back to the DA's office, and now she's got County Court 16. They all have to be Republicans on one party. Why, if we have a Democrat like L. Franco Lee, why didn't he help us broker a Democrat to be put into that spot? Why didn't we get brokered that? Even if you're the minority party, you still need to broker deals, okay? And although I never really knew El Franco Lee, I respect his legacy, but I only looked at it from a criminal justice standpoint, and I was disappointed a lot. Let me just say that. I was disappointed because I didn't see the brokering for the criminal justice system like I wanted to see. And so I think it should be televised. I remember when Tommy Thomas was a sheriff, we used to outsource our jail because 65 to 70% was waiting for trial. So one time on a Monday, I have a trial scheduled, a serious trial, and by Tuesday or Wednesday of the preceding week, I'm going to look for my client to prep him for trial. They say, "Oh, he's in Louisiana." Now, I represent the working poor.
Yeah.
Okay, my clients come see me between 5:30 and 7:30 during the week, and on Saturdays. I work 7 days a week because I represent the working poor. You know, I don't get paid for what I do. Sadiyah knows that we don't get paid for what we do, and I've been doing it longer. Yeah. And I'm just telling you, I can't afford to get in no car and drive to Louisiana to prep nobody for trial on Monday. How can that be fair? So when Adrian Garcia got the job, I told him, I said, "Adrian, this is a problem, and you need to fix that." And it was fixed. He started giving people 3-for-1 credit to get them in and out. That's why he did that, to get people out of jail, to save the county taxpayers' money so we didn't have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars per month to house our inmates that are waiting for trial. These people are not doing time, they're waiting for trial. And so then when Adrian Garcia steps down, now we have Ron Hickman.
Right.
Seems to be a nice man. We went to see him when he first got there, but his ways are the ways of old. And we need the ways of new, okay? And it's my understanding that now the jail is being outsourced again, and taxpayers are running 3 jails downtown and paying $180,000 a month to send people to Louisiana waiting for trial. We're doing it again. Yeah. But nobody knows about it because it's not televised. And I think that our meetings for our people, our representatives that we pay for, should be televised so people will know what's going on.
Let's make some noise.
Let's make some noise. So this is my new thing. I'm telling all the community activists, Sadiyah, Pastor Nash.
For sure, absolutely.
Abs-
Transparency.
Transparency.
Make everything transparent. We have technology. Is no reason for Commissioner's Court not to be televised to the
Right.
public. I mean, no reason. On social media, they can go live on Facebook. They can Snapchat. I mean, you find other municipalities doing that particular thing to show themselves to be transparent and to allow the people in, because it seems like it's closed off. Only a certain, although it's an open public meeting, we have that. How many of us actually read that law? How many of us partake in it?
And where is Commissioner's Court? I've been, but I mean, most people don't even know where that is.
But you talked about the working poor. The working poor can't get up and go to a meeting because guess what? They're at work.
At work. Work is shift work. But the beauty of televising something, they run all the time.
That's right.
So they rerun, they run over and over again. So if you don't catch it at 8, when it's happening or 9, you might catch it at 9 that night because it's on those public access stations. And so we need to see that. We need to see what they're approving, what's on the agenda. That should be publicized.
Right.
And you see how much money people are making.
That's right.
Okay? And who's getting these contracts? Because there's too many dirty deals that go on, with, Judge Eversole and different have been in trouble for things. We need to know who's getting these contracts. And we need to see it daily. We shouldn't have to dig for it.
Right, and especially the one with the bonding companies now to figure out who's going to do the algorithm. I forgot who it was, but how did they get the contract? How when this situation came up 2 weeks later, you have one company who's looking into this, has the technology, and is doing the diagnostics. You don't have an RFP, right? You don't have people bidding to see what is the best proposal, the best diagnostic to be able to come up with it, but you got one person. I don't know.
We need transparency for that. And we already know in pretrial services, when you get arrested, when you were arrested, you should, I know I'm not even saying your name wrong, but Shay, when you got arrested, Mr. Calhoun, when you got arrested, they asked you certain questions, pretrial services. They asked you, where do you live? Who are your next of kin? They didn't do you like that? Oh, because they wasn't letting you out. Oh, well, everybody's supposed to go through pretrial services.
You wasn't going to get a bond.
You wasn't going to get a bond.
No.
The pretrial services is already set up and shouldn't need an algorithm. That's what they're set up for, to get you out. They're the response to a 1970s lawsuit when Harris County was leaving people in jail. It was a federal lawsuit, and the response was to create pretrial services to get people out of jail.
Well, they're not doing their job.
And a lot of people didn't know that. I bet you didn't know that.
No.
Oh, no.
And they're
I bet you
not
didn't
doing
know
their
that.
job. If
And
you
you've
have
been downtown how
70%,
long?
15 years.
And you didn't know that, did you?
No.
You didn't know that. And pretrial services already has a grade that you come out with. And if you're above a certain number, if you ever see that scoring system, that's to know whether you're low risk, and they can let you out on a pretrial bond. But once the party became all Republican, they started using that as probation instead of pretrial. It was created to let people out of jail.
So it may be-
They already have a formula.
Right.
They have numbers, 1, 2, 3, certain points. It's simple, like 5 or 6 points you get, then you're a low risk, you can let you out. It's already there.
But look, even
We have a department that does that.
to this
we
day.
we got a phone call. Hold that thought. Thank you for calling Truth and Justice. State your comment, please.
Hi. My name is Henry Crawford. I'm just a citizen that watch your show. I moved here from Chicago in 2010, and I've been watching you on and off. And a lot of your shows I've seen, they were like reruns, but tonight I just happened to catch it, you live. And I just wanted to say that I truly admire you, and please keep up the good work.
Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for that compliment. I work so much in the community, like Pastor Nash, like Sadiyah, and like everybody else, and we don't get thank you enough. So thank you for saying that, and your thank you you're giving me, I'm going to take that to my colleagues and tell them thank you for coming tonight, for giving up their night. I know Wednesday nights are hot at churches. And the mosque. And the mosque. I said, so I know they giving up that, and I appreciate y'all giving up our time, because we do this because we care about the community, and we want to educate you about the community. I want to, because what frustrates me is you can watch the news every night and you still don't know what's going on with your tax dollars, with your city government, in the black community. You just don't know, and unless we talk about it. So thank you for listening, and thank you for calling, sir.
Well, one thing I know a lot of the people in our community don't know, how powerful you are. Mm-hmm. I'm not just saying that because I'm here. I talk about it all the time. No, sometimes I think that our people look at African-American attorneys, say, oh, man, I don't want that. You are a fighter. Look, down in Montgomery, they know you.
They know I fought in Montgomery County. One of the things I tell the young lawyers, what I tell them, Sadiyah, we might lose, but they gonna know they've been to court.
That's right.
If you, when I train people, I'm saying I might lose, But if I represent you, the prosecutors gonna know they've been to court.
They scared for that second fight. They're not gonna come back
You're
at
not
you.
gonna want to fight me no more. Y'all might lose, but you're gonna be tired as hell. It's gonna take you a long time to recover. Because they knock
That's
me
right.
down, I'm gonna get up. I'm like Muhammad Ali, I'm gonna knock you down again. So we gonna fight.
Well, you agree. And, I'm
And
not
you
just
know we
saying
fought in
that.
Montgomery County, didn't
I mean,
you know
I
it.
guarantee you, I mean, it's nothing like I've ever seen.
Did you come down there?
To see a female. No, I was down in, we went to, what was that?
Fort Bend or where?
Down to the jail down there in, what was it? It
Where
wasn't,
was With
we
Ron?
talked about going back down there.
Oh
Took
yeah,
me from the jail down there.
yeah. I forgot where that was, but I know what you're talking about.
That
Right.
was with the state representative, Ron Reynolds.
Right.
And I looked at how you just said, man, I hate to be on the other side of the table. Now, if it hadn't been for you, that would never happen.
He'd have got a felony.
Talk about that.
Well, we had a state representative that was charged with barratry. Hold on, let me take a phone call right quick. Caller, turn your volume down and state your comment, please. Hello?
Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Vivian King, this is Danny Sneed. How are you doing?
Hey, Danny Sneed, how you doing tonight?
Doing just great. Awesome show, very informative. I just want to call and give a shout out and a push up to Che Calhoun and just tell my brother, man, just stay strong, man. We're really proud, man, that
Thank
you're
you,
able
brother.
to show the courage to come on, man, and it's despite everything that you're going through, you still have the courage to come and tell your story, man. And man, I was really happy and celebrated, man, that worked out positive for you. That doesn't happen often, and they won't play that story and tell that part of the story. But Vivian King had the courage to let you tell your truth, man.
Yes, sir.
And man, I'm proud of you, man. I just hope that you take this situation, man, and let it lift you up, man, and learn from it, and it just make you just take it and do something positive with it.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
turn this situation around and get involved in the community and give back. Get involved in organizations, man, that are trying to change young people's lives around. And I'm going to let you guys finish out the show. And again, man, Jay, man, I'm looking right at you, man. And man, I'm sending out all the most powerful prayer I can, man, up to the heavens, man, and tell God, man, bless this brother's life. Thank you for
All
letting me.
right. That's a good one. Thank you, Danny Sneed, for your. Danny Sneed is called the Encourager. Danny Sneed has done 15 years in prison. Danny Sneed has been in the parole system for 26 years, but still, I rise, don't we, Danny? Danny rises, baby. He got 3 jobs.
But tell Brother Danny he need one.
Yeah. Let me tell you what, Brother Danny worked for the VA. Brother Danny works for me. He works for me. When I go on Sundays to visit those guys, guess who's going with me?
Brother Dan.
Brother Danny.
Danny, good.
Brother Danny. I pay Brother Danny every Sunday. We go up there and we visit them.
Listen.
Oh, yeah, because he can tell guys how to do their time if they got to do it. He can tell them, he can uplift them. Most of them have dad that don't have daddies. They'll write me, where Danny? Ain't worried about me. They looking for Danny because some of them have never had fathers. And Danny goes up there and lifts them up. You see how encouraging he was? He does that to them young brothers, charged with capital murder and aggravated robbery. That's what he does. And I'm glad to have him on my team. I love you, Danny.
Powerful.
We just got to promote our African American attorneys, anybody in law enforcement. Let me tell you what a lot of people don't know. When Pat Lacos went out, you know, Mike Anderson was the DA. I had a meeting with him with Dwight Marcus and Boris Miles. They wanted to talk about adjudication. After they finished, I said, now, Mike, this is what I'm going to talk about. I would like to see an oversight committee from the DA's office to the community. Then I would love to see the African-American attorneys be treated with more respect from the prosecutors. And the people that come to the court to visit, I'd like to see them treated with more respect. And then lastly, I would love for you to fill that position, that top position when Lycos left out with African-American. Well, Hill got the job.
Right, and you fought for some people to get some jobs, Pastor Nash, and I appreciate you. And every time you call me to come, if I can take off, I go, because I know you for right, and I know you for right.
Look at that people
We got another phone call. So caller, turn your music down and your sound down, and state your position. Thank you for calling.
Yes, I was calling in reference to my son who is incarcerated right now, and he had been in a situation where he was on parole. And he was in a place where he shouldn't have been, but and they ran in or whatever. He was outside, and so they charged him with the crime of possession or whatever. Okay, a public defender had agreed to defend him. I spoke with him, and he said that he would do this, that, and the other. But the video cameras, he says he don't know whether they had them or not. My son talked with him and told me, yeah, they videoed everything that would exonerate him from being the one who actually threw the dope or whatever where it was. So I just want to know, is there any way that you can be assured that the public defender does check and see if there are videos and if they can be presented in the process of going through the legal system?
Well, let me just say this. Thank you for calling. And I don't give legal advice on this show. So you are welcome to call any lawyer of your choice so that you can get a consultation and legal advice. That's what you have to do. Until you, and I know you might not be able to afford it, but that's just the way our criminal justice system is designed.
Okay.
If you want some support for yourself and your son, I go to St. John's United Methodist, and Danny Sneed, the guy who just called in, he works with the Path to Freedom and the Lazarus Project, which I'll also recommend that you go check out. They meet on Thursday nights. They give each other jobs. They give each other support, and they find jobs for each other. And they write people in prison. And so you're going to have to. A lawyer's job is to investigate the facts and hold the prosecution to their proof. So say, for example, I was representing She, and he told me I wasn't there. The first thing I try to do, and Sadiyah would try to do, is to go find the video at the store. But they are turned over in 3 days. He was just lucky enough that he went in 3 days. I mean, right before, because most of the time, by the time they hire us, it's 30 days after they've been released, because once you get released, you have a court date in 2 weeks or 30 days, and then it's over, and there's no videos anymore. And so you have got to pay a lawyer. The only way you can be assured is to pay someone to work for you. And I'm not saying that lawyer is not working for you, okay? I'm not saying he's not, but I can't tell you how you can be assured that somebody's doing their job. That's like if any job a person has, nobody knows unless you're micromanaging them if they're doing that job. So you got to get someone that you believe is working for you. Do you have any comments about the bail bond issue that we're discussing tonight?
More or less, I heard last week that they will be getting a different process for bail bonds, but, it's the same old grind. Same old grind, and I'm hoping that there really is a change. A lot of people are stuck that don't even need to be stuck.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They lose their jobs. Then how are they going to take care of the families or whatever on the weekend, or going to jail Friday and can't get out to go to work, and they're good people.
Amen.
So I think it really needs to be addressed.
Well, make sure that you are registered to vote and you vote. One of the things we don't do as minorities enough of is make everybody in that household go to vote, because believe me or not, the DA, the county attorney, and all the people with the power, and the judges, they pay attention at election time. And November 8th, they're all on the ballot. And so I suggest that you get you and your family and everybody you know to get out there and vote. And you can see a change if you get educated and you vote. Thank you for calling, and good luck with your son.
Most certainly. And thank you.
Thank you. So believe it or not, we have 4 minutes. So we're going to start closing it out. So I'm going to start with you, Pastor Nash.
I think it's a great note we just should make sure we get out and vote. That's very important. If we're gonna make changes, change the system, it got to be because people are willing to get out and vote. Stop letting the older people go vote. Some of you young folk, get out there and vote.
You got to vote.
If you want to change it,
You the one going to jail. Get out there and vote.
Get out and vote. Simple as that. Thank you, honey, for what you're doing. Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, Sadiyah.
I like the fact that this organization came together to find plaintiffs to be able to talk about this issue.
Right.
And so what we need now is more people to stand up and attach themselves to this lawsuit, because the more, we have unity in numbers. And so the more people we have to address the bonding issues, then we'll be able to address the probation issues. We'll be able to address the pretrial issues. We'll be able to address many issues that deal with poverty and race. So ultimately, we want freedom, justice, and equality, but we want to make sure that the Constitution is enforced.
Right.
That's right. Would you want to say anything, Miss Fine Lady?
I want to say that there are several bail bonding companies out there, and most of them, I've met a lot of them. They're good folks, and if you call them and state your case and state what's going on with your family, they have good hearts. They'll work with them. A lot of us do. We have bad names, but a lot of us are just normal folks, and we're willing to work with folks. Not just my company. I know Mr. Kubash.
Okay.
I know
What a
those
blessing!
guys.
What a blessing! Kubash is always there for you in the community. So, and you are too. You getting your come up, and we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Shay, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I think the bonding issue is like pre-trial and having a bond or setting a bond. I think it's an issue before that. Probable cause. I think somebody need to zero in on probable cause. Because if you have probable cause or no probable cause, you don't know if you're wrong or right by giving or not giving the bond.
That's true.
I think somebody need to, what they call it, hold them accountable. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
a brilliant statement.
Zero under them.
And let me tell you this for educational purposes, that is being dealt with right now. That's one of Rodney Ellis's issues that he's dealing with, and that's Alex Bunnan, who is the public defender in charge of our public defender. They're fighting about that right now. Having someone represent the defendant or the accused like you at TV court.
I think.
And so, because otherwise, if you say something, those DAs write it down on their file that he said so-and-so, and you don't have anybody there to stop you and tell you to be quiet. Right. And so that is an issue that is very smart on your part because you went through it. That's why on this show, we like to be real and have somebody that goes through it talk about it. You know, as lawyers and eggheads, we can talk about it, educators, but we haven't had those handcuffs on us like you. Exactly. And so I just appreciate you for telling your story. And know that there are people like Danny, and he has 2 or 3 spin-off organizations that he works with through our church. Okay. And you can work with multiple churches. You're a member of that church, but you might like the Path to Freedom that on Thursday nights, or the Lazarus Project, Raising You from the Dead. And I can put you in touch with Danny, and they help each other find jobs.
That's
so
cool.
you need to go to St. John's downtown on Gray. You can tell them where it is, and I can give you Danny's number. But you need to start going. They'll help you find a job. They'll tell you how they got a job. Right. And sometimes to get a job, Shay, you have to volunteer for free. And sometimes people will take you on because they see your enthusiasm and the fact that you're trustworthy. So think about that. But I'm gonna get you in touch with Danny after the show is over. Okay. But we still have 1 minute, it says, so if you want to say something else, Pastor Nash.
I want to say this. He talked about Rodney Ellis, okay? Right now, he's calling for a reform. Mm-hmm. He's calling for it right now. I'm going to work with Rodney. I worked with him for a long time in criminal justice. You got to fight in Rodney. Also, believe it or not, in Whitmire, John Whitmire. Yeah, we're all good friends. So I would think that we would really take a look at this. And, young lady, you need to be more involved. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Be more talkative.
Yes, sir.
Get in it. Remember that we're stronger together. That's right. We need to build a stronger Houston. One of the things I always tell my civic groups and community people is I don't want 2 MLK parades. I came from San Antonio, 5% black. We have one of the largest Martin Luther King parades in the country. I've been here for 40 years. I came here in August of 1976 to go to college. And I've always been disappointed in all the different sanctions of minorities in Harris County. Everybody wants to be the boss of 10 or 13 instead of us all. And I don't have a problem with all of us having our separate organizations. I think that's good. The bonding people need to be with the bonding people. Everybody needs to be with their like kind that they feel good with. But there needs to be almost like a Panhellenic council where we come together. You know what I mean? For common good, we come together and we work together. Right. And so I want to promote us working together on these issues. Not worrying about who's going to be the star. Not worrying about who's going to get the credit. But working for a common good so we can leave a legacy in a better city. And let's keep emphasizing that we want televised commissioners' courts. Right. We want a fair bonding system that emphasizes pretrial bonds, where 90% of the people are on pretrial bonds, and that we're stronger together. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Amen.
Thank you for tuning in again. Tonight we have something really good, a hot topic in the news this week. He's been charged with crime. This is a show where I try to educate real stories.
show.